What is up, everyone? How are we doing today? Thank you for coming back to my YouTube channel. This is Ray Commodore speaking to you, and what I want to do today is I'm going to be covering a reaction video to one of the many videos of a YouTuber whom I had followed for a while. His name is Where's Wes. Where's Wes? If you see this right now, I'm actually tagging you. I hope you're able to see this. You're one of the people that had inspired me to create my YouTube travel channel as for people who want to go to Colombia. And also for the people who are just coming in this channel, not only do I talk about travel, sometimes I talk about things that interest me like martial arts and politics, but I'm trying to get away from politics because it's very divisive and I want to stay neutral for the people who want to see. Now, the first of his videos that I want to cover is called Why I Left Colombia for Good. I'm not going to do the entire thing because, you know, he did put a lot of effort into his videos and there's a lot of production time. Me as a fellow content creator, I know how long it takes. So I'm just going to do tidbits that I felt that are important. But for those who want to see the whole thing, please go visit his channel. Please give him the support.
So a lot of people have been asking me, will you ever go back to Colombia? So I want to address something real quick. A lot of people say that I've lied about Colombia in order to sell my course. And every time I see that comment, it always bugs the heck out of me because I feel like compared to a lot of the other Colombian YouTubers, most of them don't even really speak Spanish or care to travel to the country to really know what it's like.
Oh, he's definitely right about that. I cannot tell you how many YouTubers that will fly down to Colombia and they act like they know everything about there is to Colombia when they don't know next to nothing, when they know next to nothing. They don't understand the language, they don't understand the culture and the people, they don't understand that each region itself is a different culture. There's a man who I will call him Mr. J. And Mr. J was a Korean traveler who only resides in Bogota. And he basically told me that he judges the entire country based on Bogota. And when he doesn't know that a lot of Colombians outside of Bogota are not the same way as Bogota, and some of them don't even like them. Just to put it that way. Let's be nice about that. I'm going to be very nice.
So that's why I made my course in a way where it talks about all the good and the bad things about Colombia. I'm not trying to just sell you guys a dream. You guys have to understand all the cultural and society issues that the country has, all the safety issues that it comes with. Unfortunately, because all the content portraying Colombia in a certain light has led to a wave of sexpats and men looking for women coming into the country. I'm just going to keep it a buck, right? That's exactly what it is. I've done my best to portray Colombia in a light that does not sexualize the women, but we all know the type of content that gets views
and as a Colombian, I'm telling you guys out there, we are getting very tired, very sick and tired of these sexpats, these tourists. They go there who only look for women who work off the street, women who trade their body for services. It's not only happening with Colombians inside of Colombia, but also Colombians outside of the country as well. In the United States, in France, in Spain, we're getting very sick and tired. It's gotten so bad to the point where I was told by a lot of friends in Cartagena, because I traveled there a lot, that if you are a single male traveler, they will automatically stereotype you as a person who as a sexual deviant or as a person who is looking for illicit medication for recreational use. And they will judge you so based upon that until they get to know you. Even if you're Colombian like me, if living in the United States, even if I travel there and I speak the language and I understand the culture, they will still judge me if I'm traveling as a single male traveler and not with a family. It's gotten that bad. It has gotten that bad. And they even poke fun of them. When they see you walking on the street, they're talking under their breath. They go, look at him, look at him. Ahí, por ahí va, mira ese, ahí va la mujer por el otro lado. Mira allá, mira, póngale. They were saying, look at him, looking down the corner. That girl's walking. I knew he was gonna talk. I told you he was gonna talk. Here, give me 2,000 because you owe me.
And I never wanted to sacrifice the integrity of my channel in order to pursue that. It really frustrates me when people are telling me that you're the reason why all these Asians are getting killed in Colombia, as if I'm the guy telling everybody to move to Colombia. I feel like I'm doing the complete opposite. I'm trying to warn people. So that's why I have my course available. People are gonna do what they wanna do anyways. So I would rather them be totally informed of the reality of what the country is, rather than buying into a dream, which all of these other YouTubers are trying to sell you guys. You know, I get a lot of negative comments. That's fine, you disagree with me, all that stuff. One thing I can never stand are attacks against my integrity. So I felt like I had to say something about that. The biggest concern right now for me are the safety issues. It always bugs the heck out of me when specific YouTubers like to claim safety in Colombia is not a big deal, and they compare safety in Colombia to safety in Baltimore or safety in Chicago. Both things can be true at once. Both places can suck at the same time. Just because one is bad doesn't negate that the other is bad. I always thought that was a really dumb argument. It's because of the understating of how dangerous that place is. People find themselves in really crazy situations.
My friend, as someone who grew up in Colombia, who is a Colombian citizen, who went to elementary school there, who went to middle school there, who left to the United States and came back and lived during the height of the Civil War era, who had to travel every 3 miles and had to be at a military stop, and where they had to double check that you had no bombs and that you weren't some type of guerrilla fighter, and and lived during the time where the country was almost taken over by Marxist guerrilla forces. I have to say this: it is an exaggeration on both sides of the fence, and I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but I do have a bald head in the back. You know, I was born in the 80s. In my entire life of being in Colombia, I have never ever been robbed. And yes, I did live there during the time that there was a lot of violence, but Colombia has changed a lot in the last, I would say, 20 years. Some places that I have been to in Colombia have been absolutely extremely safe, and I have been yelling to the top of my lungs from the top of a mountain for, you know, the YouTubers to go to these places. But you know what they tell me? I don't like small towns. You can go to Ginebra in the Cauca Valley. You can go to Pradera. You can even go to where I come from, where I don't like to talk about much, on my mother's side, which is Palmira, which is a smaller town, which is next to Cali. If you are in the Antioquia region, there's a lot of small towns. Jardín, Circasia, Salento, which is in Quindío. Quindío has a lot of small towns, but people don't like to go there because they like to flock to Medellin. It's like everybody likes to flock only to, imagine only flocking to LA and being in the worst part of LA. Now, I have been accused by a man who we're going to call Mr. J, who's a Korean traveler, Korean American, that I do not know what I'm talking about. He says that, oh, you say that it's dangerous. It's not dangerous. It is dangerous if you go to the wrong areas. If you have, let's say, a terrorist group in Alaska, but you live in, let's say, North Carolina, obviously it's not going to bother you, right? But for some reason, there's a lot of people that like to gravitate towards the wrong areas of town, and we know who we're talking about. So I have been in towns in Colombia, which is extremely safe, just like any other rural parts. Now, as a whole, is the country a lot safer than the United States? No. But are there exceptions where there are towns where you're so safe you can be walking around at night, nothing will happen to you? Yeah. I have seen small towns where you can actually drop a wallet and it will be there the next day. However, before the passport bros try to search for this place, it is not for you, especially not for you, and it is not for me. Let me explain. Contrary to the popular belief, the worst crime, the worst danger in Colombia, it is not the cartels. Some people like to watch too much Netflix or whatever series they like to watch. See, it is not like Mexico. See, in Mexico, you have the cartels, which are the people that are pretty much in power. But in Colombia, those are not the people in power. You have three main powers, because Colombia is what is known as the three fronts. Okay, so unless you want to hit on the girlfriend of a paramilitary warlord, unless you want to hit on the daughter of a general, or unless you want to hit on basically the wife of a guerrilla fighter who is Marxist, could be socialist, could be even communist, who have certain controls of certain towns, you do not go there. You can go through there, nothing will happen to you, but you do have to leave at nighttime. It's not a sundown town like here in the United States for certain people of color. What I'm trying to say is these are places that are so protected that even the police know, even local criminals know that you're not supposed to harass anybody, because these are protected towns. They're supposed to be safe for them. However, let's take those exceptions out of there. I have seen small towns where you can be very safe. You could be just as if you're in Merida, Mexico, and most likely nothing will happen. But never that papaya. I live in the suburbs here in South Florida, and I'm not going to be taking walks out at 1 o'clock in the morning. I actually saw a video of a woman who went with another woman. I think she was Canadian. So two women, they go to Medellin, right? And so they stay at this Airbnb. According to her friend who got robbed, she decided to take a walk at midnight. Who in the world takes a walk at midnight? I live in a suburb where nothing will happen. I have jogged at that time, but I'm not going to be walking around at midnight making myself a target. Would my sister walk around at midnight by herself? No. Why would you put yourself in that position? It seems like some people, they tend to lose common sense when they go to Colombia. And then they say, oh, the whole country is dangerous. No, Medellin is dangerous. Certain parts of Medellin is dangerous, but there's a lot of small towns that you can go to. And Colombia is not Medellin.
Just in the last week alone, there were 5 foreigners that died in Medellin, bro.
Come on, guys. Let's be honest with each other. Let's be honest with each other. It's 100% sure that those people that died were men. In fact, most of the time, 99% of the time, I don't think I've ever heard one instance a woman, a tourist, a foreigner had died. It may have happened. I may have not heard about it. I have friends in Medellin, by the way, and they tell me 3 times a week you hear the same exact story. They found a gringo who fell out a window, a gringo who got deleted by scopolamine, a gringo was found in a ditch somewhere, and 100 times before you even finish the sentence, what do they say? It had to be a guy. It's usually a European or an American. We need to be honest with each other, because I have friends, co-workers of mine, who took an all-female trip, about 5 or 6 of them, to Medellin. They went there for 1 week, and I told them, I gave them my number. I have friends who live in Medellin, friends in the tourism sector, friends in the restaurant sector, and I said, call me if anything happens, and here are my friends. And I gave them contacts, so they were fine. And guess what? Nothing happened to them. And you know what they told me? They thought it was really funny seeing these male passport bros going there looking for trouble, because they were not looking for trouble. They didn't stay till 3 o'clock in the morning in the worst neighborhood, strata 0, strata 1, looking for trouble.
I see beautiful women in Asia. I've seen a lot of beautiful women here in Poland. And I always found it funny that a lot of men complain about American women, saying that their standards are so high. They just want a man for their money or X, Y, and Z. And then they come to Colombia looking for a cheap sugar baby, leave with their money, and do the exact same thing that they're complaining about. To me, it's like, if you're looking for true love, I won't fault you for that. Then why come to Colombia and then leave with your wallet?
I have a lot of female cousins, and most of them are university trained. I have one who's a nurse. She has like a nursing company. She owns a funeral. I have another cousin of mine she is a psychologist. I have one of them who's an anthropologist. I have another one studying sociology. She has like 2 degrees under her 3rd degree. The other one does web design, and she took photography. Do you think that they would date any of these guys that fly down there to look for carnal pleasures? Do you think they will give them the time? No, they will not give them the time.
And then try to deal with girls who are way out of your league, not knowing the culture, not speaking any Spanish. It just makes me feel a type of way. I know there's a bunch of YouTubers that do this, and that's why a lot of men who reach out to me in consultations or DMs have such a disillusioned view of Colombian women. There's a high number of single moms in Colombia, the highest rate in all of the world at 84%. It's just like walking into a minefield and then hoping to find a diamond in the rough.
Yes, that is actually very true. It's 100% true, and I cannot deny it. Colombia has one of the highest populations of females, of women who are single mothers. I do have to, mention my anecdotal evidence. I don't think there's any female within my family, especially my maternal side of the family, because I have a lot of female cousins who are professionals, who are studying, that they are not single mothers. In fact, I don't think that there's any single one. They've all finished school, and none of them ever had any children before they even finished school. Except one, she was like kind of finishing high school, but she was already married. So that doesn't count. I would say that the only one, because I would say, I'm probably one of the few exceptions here. The only one female cousin of mine that, had a child out of wedlock and is a single mom to this day is a cousin of mine that lives here in the United States. So, go figure. That doesn't mean, however, that if you date a single mom that, is going to damage the relationship. It's just going to make it a little bit harder. There's certain things that come along with it. I've dated women who are both single and had no children, and women who had children. Some children were almost close to my age because I dated older women for a while.
Los noviazgos colombianos, buenos, tóxicos, muy pegados o frescos, ¿cómo es?
Yo diría que son tóxicos.
Sí, ¿en qué sentido?
En especial las mujeres son un poco locas.
Un poco.
Un poco.
But that comes along with the territory. That's a Latino thing. It's not a Colombian thing. For anybody who's dated Latina women, it is mostly the exact same thing. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But I mean, I've dated Mexicans. I dated Peruvians. I dated Ecuadorians. I've dated Argentinians. I dated Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Cubans. And I know what it's like. Latino culture is a very emotional culture. It is a very emotional language. So if you're not used to having women that are very clingy, that women that will introduce you to their family on the first or second or third date, usually no more than the third date, this is how you know you're dating seriously. Because with my ex-girlfriend, let me tell you something. On the second date, I met her grandmother, I met her grandfather, I met her cousins, I met her aunts, I met her best friends. And she's not the only one. My other girlfriends, even the one that was older than me and she was a professional and she was an optometrist, introduced me to her closest friends. This is how I know you're dating someone really and not dating someone who is just using you, especially if you're going to date someone who works the streets.
So when it comes to Colombia, a lot of people talk about how amazing the people are. I would agree to that statement to a certain extent.
En un porcentaje yo diría que es como igual. Los hombres malos y los hombres buenos.
Buenos. En Colombia 60% de la gente es buena, pero 40% es como...
Yeah, but that experience is actually very subjective because the thing is that, you know, there's good and bad people in every country. You can't expect come to a different country and everybody to be your best friend. Like, look here in the United States. How many people have you met that everybody that you meet is your best friend for life? I have friends that I have known since middle school and high school in Colombia, and to this day we still keep in contact with each other. Some people I'm more closer to, other people I'm less closer to, and we still have a WhatsApp group that we talk with each other. Some people are here in the United States, other people are in Colombia, other people in Europe. I have friends who have gone to live in France, in Germany, in Scandinavia even. Like, you know, who would have thought that?
Even when I was involved with this church, these people who were supposedly like Christian, when they were first getting to know me and they loved me, it was all about the love of God and Jesus. As soon as I became their enemy, then all of a sudden they were trying to extort me for money. They sent me all these lawsuits. All that love that they supposedly had, all of a sudden that all disappeared and they became like the ugly faced Colombians that we hear so much about. And on top of all that, I've had really bad experiences doing business.
Wes, my friend, my man, let me talk to you. I know you went through a really hard ordeal with this. So let me talk to you as a person who's Colombian, who dates Colombians, who knows the culture very well, who grew up in the culture. To be straightforward with you, I want you to understand that this has the signs of a cult. I'm sorry to say this. Listen, my ex-girlfriend and I, whom I just got out of a relationship with, but I still promote her in my videos because we still have a good friendship. We come from two different Christian denominations. I am a Christian Catholic and she is a Pentecostal Christian of the Foursquare Church, Trinitarian. I integrated myself as a part of her family, and most of her family is Pentecostal. And when I joined her family, I wanted to show that I wanted to be a part and integrate myself as part of their lives because I really was in love with her. I went to her church with her mom. I met the pastor twice. I worship with them. And they were very respectful of me in my relationship and in my faith. Yes, we did have doctrinal differences when they would ask me certain questions, but I would be able to answer them, and they respectfully acknowledge. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they did not agree. Even though I practice Catholic apologetics, which is defense of the faith, through discourse and through study and everything else. And her pastor and her family never interfere with our relationship. They can give their ideas, they can give us their opinions, but they don't have a right. They even told us that they don't have a right because there was a relationship between us. And you who were married, no one has any right to step between you and your wife. You date a Colombian. Even just dating them, you become a part of her family. You date her family. But one thing that they don't have power over, which is something that my own father told me, is they have no right to step between you and your wife. Doesn't matter if it's the pastor, it doesn't matter if it's the mother, it doesn't matter if it's the father or the brother or everything else. It shows that it is a well-known fact that there are certain Christian groups, mostly Pentecostal, evangelical, that go to certain parts of South America and they will go to some of the poorest areas and they will seek out to create communities. And some of these communities can become in a cult-like situation where the pastor has main control of everybody. Now, my ex-girlfriend was the type of person that she is extremely, extremely independent and no one tells her what to do. But that is a costeño thing. Like, bro, if you date a costeña from Barranquilla, Santa Marta, Cartagena, all those areas in the northern coast, not the Pacific. I'm not not the Pacific, but the northern coast, you'll find out that they're extremely, very much like Puerto Ricans, Cubans, and Dominicans. Latin Americans from the Caribbean are a very, very strong-willed people. Even though we had doctrinal differences, even though we had situations where they couldn't understand some of the things that I would do, I will still join them and I will go to the church. And there were certain things, limits that I could not do as a Catholic Christian. They still respected that. And even after we separated, her family still loves me and they will never force me to do something that I wasn't supposed to do. They didn't send me any threats. The father has told me many times, you're welcome to come to my house anytime, even if you're not with her, even if she marries somebody else. And this can happen a lot of times with Colombian families. So for for me to you as a man, one man to the next, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but that was a cult. And no Christian should be sending you threats like that. Trying to talk to you like he's some type of cartel boss, like he's so tough and everything else. And I control her this and I control her that. Yes, I understand that hurt you a lot. And it hurt you a lot that she was letting herself being controlled by these people. As a Colombian, I believe in the ideal that a woman should be independent and not be a slave to anybody else, but you are her husband and she is your wife, and you submit to each other. You submit to her and she submits to you. And I'm talking from one Christian to the next, not of doctrine, not of denominational differences, but from a purely Christian standpoint. When two people marry, like the Bible says, they leave and form one blood and one flesh, and you are bound to each other. You submit to her, she submits to you. And the fact that she submitted to somebody else, I felt that was wrong, and I'm sorry that had hurt you, because you were really in love. I know that you had gone through a lot of stuff with your family. You were trying to heal, but once again, this is what cults do. They invite you in. They make it seem like it's a friendly situation, and they seek out certain people who are suffering and take advantage of the emotional state to make you feel like, oh man, I finally have found it. I feel like I'm, heaven on earth and everything's so perfect. Human beings, we're flawed people. Doesn't matter what religion you are. Human beings will always be flawed people. It is the religion that we practice, whatever religion you want to practice, to help you become a better person. But if you're still not allowing that to enter your heart and become that better person that you're supposed to achieve through your method and your vehicle, then that tells you that you have to understand that the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. And once again, I apologize, because I'm a person, just a Colombian, and we're very apologetic people. We say sorry a lot. I hope that you can find the healing that you need. And if you ever choose to come back to Colombia, start again. But you can try Medellin, but there's more than Medellin. And if you go to Medellin, don't try that one certain sector of paisas, because paisas are a different group of people. There's different versions of paisas depending where you go. And also, you don't have to be paisas only. You can come to my valley, Valle del Cauca. You have Palmira, you have Tuluá, you have Cali, you have the Pacific Coast. You can go to South to Nariño. You can go to Ibagué, the Opitas. No, Neiva, I'm sorry. Huila province, where you have those people called Opitas. Okay, you can go to the flatlands, the llanos. You have a lot of women who are cowgirls and stuff like that. I mean, you have cowgirls in the Paisa territory, but the ones from the flatlands are a totally different thing. I mean, they'll have thousands of acres, and they'll be out there for days and months on end with rattling cattle through water and through anacondas and everything else. There's more than one type of Colombian, and I'm sure you can find someone of value that can care about you for you. So if you ever want to come back, it's open. Just be careful with the north, because he did say something about, we'll talk about that later. Northerners, costeños, the people of the coast, they're not the most, how do I put this? They're not most, the most loyal of the group. Let's put it this way. And for the people wondering if I broke out my ex-girlfriend, no, she wasn't over infidelity. We still have a good relationship. Just have differences differences in personality, but we may get together, we may not, but I still promote her, I still talk to her, and her family still loves me and cares about me. Because anybody who's really been with a Colombian woman, you'll find out that sometimes, a lot of the times actually, after if you break up with a girl and she's in the wrong, the family will actually take your side over hers. Okay, like I'm basically one of the family. I can come in, and the father has told me you can come and stay at my house anytime that you want. The mom or the brother, the uncle, and I'm still be one of them.
But then once everything started opening back up, and all of these YouTubers were able to come back to Colombia, sexualizing the women, treating Colombia as their own personal whorehouse, it just started an influx of a bunch of sexpats and men searching for women, but not even like honestly searching for women. Prostitutes are very cheap, and they are some of the hottest girls you'll ever see in your life. I think it's kind of a mix of both Colombian culture, how they portray their women, but also like the gringo coming in and partaking. If one is making the drug and the other one's taking the drug, who is really at fault? Because a lot of paisas will say the same thing about their women and view their women the same way. Oof, I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for that one.
Okay, but which type of paisa are we talking about here? Because look, you have a paisa here on the right side from Medellin and one not from Medellin. Not all of the ones from Medellin look like the one on the right. And contrary to popular belief, there's a stereotype amongst foreigners that this is how the common paisa looks like. Long black hair, maybe has some operation work done, very beautiful bodies, some maybe a little bit of plastic surgery, lots of makeup and all those type of things. However, let me show you. This is what a true paisa looks like. The word paisa was meant for an ethnic group of people that work in the coffee access region, basically country folk. However, not all country folk are considered paisas. That is for a separate video that I will make. However, a lot of passport bros will overlook these women because they say, oh, I don't want a girl from the countryside and stuff like that. However, if you look at her when she dresses up, she looks extremely nice. Not all Colombians are the same. My girlfriend is from Cartagena. She's from the coast. You have this girl here from the southern part of Colombia. She's Native American. You have a girl here from my area. And then you have also the women from the Llanos, which is the flatlands. Not everybody in Colombia is a paisa. And Colombia has a lot of different ethnic groups of people. And even among the paisas, they're very, very different. I have friends from Pereira, I have friends from Manizales, I have friends from the minor areas of the coffee region, Armenia, and those smaller towns. And the first thing that they tell me, they will actually complain that the people from Medellin are not true paisas. Think about it this way. In the United States, you have people who argue who's really country, who's really southern. Is it the people from North Texas? Is it the people from South Texas? Is it the people from North Carolina, South Carolina? There are different types of paisas, and you can actually find good quality paisa if that's your thing. But I keep on telling you, there are different ethnic groups. And I actually want to create a video, different ethnic groups of Colombians, because, you know, Colombia is more than Medellin. See, what most people don't understand, that Colombia is a multi-ethnic, multicultural society. So each region is like a different country, and there's cultures upon subcultures. This tends to be a little bit mistake by foreigners who come to Colombia, but don't you worry, guys. This is not an English speaker problem only. We actually get this from other Spanish speakers as well. Here's an example.
Me dicen que no tengo acento colombiano, pero si se refieren a esto, no. Más de 40 millones de colombianos no hablamos como colombianos. Colombia es un país pluricultural y multiétnico. Aquí habitamos más de 115 pueblos originarios, afrocolombianos, palenqueros. Tenemos 32 departamentos, 6 regiones, 5 fronteras terrestres, alrededor de 63 lenguas nativas. Yo soy de la región surandino-amazónica. Mi acento está influenciado por el quechua porque además de vivir en una región indígena, soy indígena. Muchas de las palabras de mi diario vivir vienen del quechua, pero mis papás también viven aquí, también son indígenas y tienen un acento diferente, porque los acentos no solo varían por las regiones, sino las edades, los estratos y el entorno. Entonces no todos hablamos paisa. Deje de ver narconovelas, ahorita está 100 años de soledad, véase 100 años de soledad, viaje a Colombia si puede, conozca nuestro bello país. Si usted es colombiano y no habla paisa, no se sienta menos colombiano cuando está en otros lugares. Llevemos con orgullo nuestro acento porque con eso también cargamos toda una historia.
I was making was definitely getting stale. The cap for Colombian YouTubers is probably Life with David. He's the one who's done the most successful here. It feels like a lot of his content is just kind of around the same thing. Walking around Medellin, dating in Medellin, bad thing happening in Medellin. Yes, it's definitely working for him. I just found myself running out of ideas. As soon as I left Colombia, I felt like my channel has taken off. I don't think Colombia is gonna change. I actually think that there are more foreigners going there more than ever. Colombia is just in a weird place right now, and maybe hopefully they can get out of it. As of right now, it's very hard for me to recommend people moving to specifically Medellin. I think the Eje Cafetero, Barranquilla, Santa Marta, some of the smaller cities are still worth visiting and maybe living in. I'm going to visit there. When I do, it's going to be a crazy homecoming. I know the videos are going to be crazy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
And this is one of the things that angers us Colombians. Not you personally, don't take it personally, but Colombia is more than Medellin. Bro, look at me. Bayuno, Valle del Cauca. There's people from Boyacá, Boyacenses. There's people from Santander, Norte de Santander. Let me see here. You have people from Atlántico. You have people from El Chocó, the Chocó region, which is the province next to Panama. One of the highest populations of people of African descent and indigenous descent. You have the Pacific. You have Buenaventura. You have Nariño. You have the Carnival of the Blacks and the Whites in the south. What else do you have? You have the area near the Amazon. You have if I used to be friends with, and I still need to get in contact with her, of an influencer in south part of Colombia. She's like from an half Andean, Amazonian-ish from her tribe. There's like 99 different tribes. I have friends who are Wayu from the tribe in the north in Guajira province, from both the Venezuelan and the Colombian side, because they got split up because of the lines that got set through, and they're actually related to the Taino peoples of Puerto Rico. There's whale watching in the Pacific. You have humpback whales there. There's a lot to do, the Llaneros. My brother actually wanted to take a trip at one time because the people who own ganado, which own the cattle farms, these people have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hectares. I mean, like miles upon miles, and they leave these cows range free and stuff like that. And they will take like hundreds of people out there to wrestle them down in the flatlands, especially when it gets wet. And you can actually even go with them as a part of a tour. You can actually go with them as part of the trip, wrestle with them, you know, bring the cows there. You can eat the food from the Llanos, which is actually the same between Colombia and Venezuela. There's a place called the Llanos, which is the flat plains, and they have both the same culture on both the left and the right side of the Colombian border. And this is something you could do. There's a lot of things to do in Colombia. So I like to tell you, as one person to the next, one YouTuber to the next, Colombia is more than Medellin. Colombia is way more than the Paisa region. And there's different types of Paisas. There's Finlandia, there's Quindío, let me see here, there's Pereira, there's Risaralda, and there's even variations among them. Even in the northern part of the valley where I'm from, you have different colonies where the people are mixed with the Bajuno and the Paisa culture, and they have like a unique form of talking, which is half and half. And even the facial features are half and half.
Well, my friends, if you made it this far, I want to thank you very much. And for those who are new, please like and subscribe if you would like to see more content. I'd like to hear feedback because I want to be able to entertain you and to help people understand more about Colombia. Wes, if you see this, I do this as a way to honor you because you're one of the people that inspired me to create a YouTube channel about Colombia. Those who want to travel there, I want to give the best experience to everybody. Hopefully I can travel to other parts of Latin America and eventually the world and meet new people, try new cuisines, new cultures, and new experiences.